24th, 2009, I woke up in a state hospital in Portland, Oregon. My wrist was being stapled shut and I felt like the nails were being driven through plywood. At this point, I had no idea what was going on. Soon there would be a number of doctors and psychiatrists that would come to visit me over the next few weeks and put the pieces of a lifelong puzzle together. Today, I'm going to talk to you guys about a disease known as bipolar disorder. Now, I understand that some of you might already know about this disease, or even have it, or know somebody that does. But I am sure you don't know everything about bipolar disorder, or will gain some valuable knowledge from this information. I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder in 2009 and have done extensive research on this disease and many other mental illnesses. So what we're going to cover today is 1, what is bipolar disorder? 2, how does it affect the person that is being diagnosed? And 3, how can it be treated? So what is bipolar disorder? According to the American Psychology Association website last accessed October 24, 2013, bipolar disorder is a serious mental illness in which common emotions become intensely and often unpredictably magnified. This leaves over 10 million Americans struggling with this disease. So when talking about bipolar disorder, this means that depressed moods in a normal individual become extremely depressed moods in a bipolar individual. And elevated moods for a normal individual become extremely depressed moods for a bipolar individual. This chart here shows a normal baseline mood for a normal individual, and these troughs are depressed moods for a bipolar individual and peaks of mania for the bipolar individual. So let's talk about the causes of bipolar disorder. The National Institute of Mental Health website last accessed October 25, 2013 says most experts agree that bipolar disorder has no single cause, and they do agree that it is a chemical imbalance in the brain most likely caused by genetics, biological traits, hormonal problems, and possibly some environmental factors. So now that we have talked about what bipolar disorder is, let's talk about our second point, how this disorder affects those who have it. According to the National Alliance on Mental Illness website, last accessed October 26, 2013, 2 main features characterize people with bipolar disorder. These 2 traits are known as mania and depression. Intensity and oscillation, also known as ups and downs. They experience extreme irritability and euphoria, along with several other symptoms during the same week, such as agitation, surges of energy, reduced need for sleep, talkativeness, pleasure-seeking, and increased sexual risky behavior. On the other side, when an individual experiences extreme depression, they feel extremely sad, hopeless, loss of energy. Not everyone's symptoms are the same. These individuals struggle with daily activities such as getting their mail, shopping, maintaining jobs, and often turn to drugs and alcohol to deal with their symptoms. These choices either worsen their disease or put them in hospitals to help them cope with their symptoms. These choices also lead them to suicide. If they do not seek treatment, this bar here, the green bar, shows individuals who have sought treatment and get help. This is their suicide rate, 6.4. The purple bar is the suicide rate, 29.2, in individuals who do not get treatment. This is their suicide rate. Bipolar can be treated in many different ways. Now that we have talked about the effects it has on bipolar disorder, let's talk about our third point, how bipolar disorder can be treated. It can be treated in many different ways. The most popular way is to be treated with an anticonvulsant or mood stabilizer such as lithium. And combining those two, you get a 70 to 80% success rate with those two drugs. It helps with manic phases, usually in the first part of the manic phase, and going on can lead to six-fold increases in recovery. As of today, October 28, 2013, there is no cure for bipolar disorder, nor is there a way to tell who it will affect. Today we have talked about the mental illness bipolar disorder. We've covered 1, what is bipolar disorder, 2, how it will affect those with the disorder, and 3, how bipolar disorder can be treated. Now back to that hospital in Oregon I was staying at after being put on a very well-known medication called Seroquel and lithium. I was virtually freed of all symptoms from bipolar disorder. And a great writer named Virginia Woolf, who was also suspected of having this disorder, once said, "I thought how unpleasant it is to be locked out, and thought how it is worse perhaps to be locked in."